Phoebe Desmond comes into the pack. So just one player in, one player out, then the positional shuffles as Newcastle run onto the SCG. What a thrill for these players who have no doubt grown up watching sport at this famous venue and now get to play on it. Tasha Gale, despite all you achieved in the game, you didn't get to play at the Sydney Cricket Ground.
No, this hallowed ground is a bit of a stranger to me as far as my playing days go, but it is such a great ground, and what an honour for the girls out there. And Matt, I've got to say, how good to have Baxter back, the Roosters captain.
Absolutely. A Maori All-Star for the last 3 years. She missed 2 games because of COVID, but there she is in the #1 jersey, having played for Australia, having represented New South Wales on 7 occasions. Corbin Baxter in the Roosters backline. A moment ago, we saw a shot of Kira Dibb, who comes into the Knights halves. So there's some attacking players out there from the get-go.
Yep, and I'm really excited about just what the girls are going to produce. Like they like to chance their arm in these dry conditions, and I think we're up for some really exciting, skillful play.
We get to see Corbin Baxter and Jess Surgis again tomorrow. They're part of the Fox League studio panel for our doubleheader from CommBank Stadium. That coming your way tomorrow. St George Illawarra against Brisbane, both unbeaten, into Parramatta against Gold Coast, both 1-1. But these teams looking to open their accounts in what is NRLW 21. Last year's competition played to start this season. We'll have another NRLW season 22 competition at the end of the year. Underway, the first of 4 games this afternoon on Fox League. And the SCG wearing a great face as the kickoff goes out towards the eastern sideline, and Newcastle straight away bringing it back towards the middle of the field. They've gone for size, the Knights. Maitua Federica, Netta Nuasala, the starting props, bolstered by Shante Poko into the halves. Phoebe Desmond, after her week 1 heroics, back into the lineup. And the Knights desperate for this first victory. Nuasala, last week, 52 minutes, 114 run metres, 15 tackles without a miss. So here's her first carry of the afternoon, backed up now by Federica. Good to see her back in NRLW.
Matt, they definitely played their way into the starting team. There's a penalty here. Last week, as Crystal Rorta was able to link up with her fellow Kiwi international players in Nuasala and Federica. Made a big difference.
Hannah Southwell is giving a nod to apologise to her Roosters teammates, conceding a penalty there. So, yeah, Newcastle, Federica was a try scorer. Nuasala, the other starting prop. Plenty of good stats from her as well. As Bobby Law starts this set in Roosters territory. Early minutes of this first NRLW game in round 3 of the competition. Now Nuasala again. Southwell makes sure there's no offload. Sarah Tongatuki down low in the tackle. Now Rota out of dummy half, going to Federica. And she's felled by Taylor Predabon, Roosters number 10. Good start to her season as well. And Polkov passes flat, short, big head fake involved, but they've put it down, Newcastle. That was one area identified by Casey Bromelo speaking early this afternoon with Darcy, that they have to be better when it comes to ball security. Better completions required urgently by the Knights.
Absolutely, Matt. You can't not complete your sets. You have to get to that kick, get to great field position. So vital in our game.
Olivia Higgins wanting a quick play of the ball, and here's Isabel Kelly. Don't they have stars in the centres, the Roosters? Both of them playing for New South Wales and Australia. Jess Surgis in 3, Isabel Kelly wearing 4. And Taylor Predabon hoping to provide the platform for both of them. Higgins to Southwell. This workaholic in the middle just caught a little high. That was too high from Edward Spruce.
That'll certainly help the Roosters get a penalty here, piggyback their way down into enemy territory. And let's just see what they can do with their forwards.
Sarah Tongatuki winds up. Rangi Marie Edwards-Bruce conceding the penalty, and the Roosters go on the attack. Taylor Predabon, the 21-year-old, in her first year of NRLW. Here's Racine McGregor showing it, going to Baxter. The ball arrived behind Corbin Baxter. She couldn't pull it in. And the incomplete set by Newcastle has been answered by the Roosters.
Certainly has. And as you can see here, it's just a little bit of a timing issue there with Corbs. She only came back into training on Monday night. Their coach did mention you can notice her influence straight away, but having been away from the team for 2 weeks, those little timing things are going to happen in the first few moments of the match.
Darcy McDonald, it's a beautiful afternoon sitting sideline.
It sure is, Maddie. Good afternoon to you and Tasha, and what an honour it is to be here today for the first ever NRLW game at the SCG. A lot is on the line for both teams. They're both winless to start the season, and Maddie, you touched on it earlier, and we've seen it twice already. Ball handling will be a big focus of both teams today. The Roosters completed at 62% last week, while the Knights completed at just 55%. I'm happy to report, though, the conditions are much kinder today. There's a bit of cloud around, but no rain expected.
Yeah, there were plenty of excuses in Wollongong last weekend. Not so many this afternoon. Maybe just the energetic defence of teams putting the ball carriers off their game. As McGregor goes low, Southwell over the top, and they're trying to pin Newcastle in their own half for as long as possible. Div gives the ball, and they explore on this left-hand side. Now Kira Div drives it down the middle of the ground, finds the grass, splitting the two players at the back, and there's a fumble in the in goal. And now they come back, the Roosters, through Bridie Parker.
Very fortunate bounce of the ball that went backwards there. Could have been, well, terrible for the Roosters.
She was named on a wing today, Bridie Parker, but played fullback last week. Very sound performance in that custodian position in the absence of Corbin Baxter. Here's Surges trying to pull free, and she's pulled down from behind by Nuasala. Big collision as well with Georgia Page. But they're on the march now. Isabel Kelly, Tasha.
You talk about the forwards getting the backs on the front foot, but I tell you what, Surges and Kelly, they can make their way forward.
Meeks gives the ball away. Here's a chance. Surges with the fend towards the sideline and onto it. The cover defence doing the job. Romy Teitzel across there in conjunction with Bobby Law.
Romy Teitzel, great captain, our youngest captain in the NRLW. She's been solid throughout this season, games 1, 2 and 3. Scored their first try. Great captain's knock there by taking the not so easy Surges over the sideline.
The shoulder just touching the sideline. Nice ball from Yasmin Meeks as well to send Surges on her way. Meeks and Olivia Koenig, the edge forwards for the Roosters. And it was Koenig with the ball for Surges. Now they're defending the Roosters. Kira Dibb into the dummy half position. And that's strong defensively. Who else? Hannah Southwell under the rib cage again, forcing Teitzel back over herself. And more of the same. Look at Southwell again. This time it's Predabon involved defensively as well. Needing a big run here, the Knights, as it come through Federica.
They're on their last. They're going for the kick. Poco can get some great distance with the ball, but they only made 26 metres from that set prior to the kick.
Yeah, you can put the Roosters' defence down for that as Baxter returns the ball, chews off plenty of metres, and they start the set just 15 short of halfway. So this is the grind, the arm wrestle that John Strange will want his team to continue. Now Isabel Kelly. Good to see both the centres looking for plenty of ball early in this one, as I mentioned.
Love to see them getting involved, and I love I think that was Kelly with the offload. So that puts the Knights, you know, in two minds all the time. Got to wrap them up in the tackle, and they've done just that right here.
Koenig to play the ball. Baxter at dummy half. Goes to McGregor. Here's Tongatuki. That was the 30-metre line she crossed. In great position here, the Roosters, but only one play left. McGregor has it. Goes long, cutting out a few defenders. There are numbers here for the Roosters. The ball goes out to the wing, and they're in through Bridie Parker.
Absolute finesse there from the Roosters. That's the sort of footy we expected to see right from round one, but we've been a bit starved of it as the Roosters had some trouble connecting their backline together, but certainly not here. Excellent pass selection from Racine McGregor. Draws, passes to Kelly. Kelly out there to the wing.
Here's Yasmin Meeks, the edge forward. She finds Isabel Kelly. On to Bridie Parker, and the Roosters score first.
Bridie Parker goes over untouched, but beautiful ball by Meeks. And if you've got Kelly charging at you, what are you going to do? It's going to attract the defenders. So Bridie Parker gets to add the 4 points for the Roosters. Goes over the line untouched.
Bridie Parker in her 3rd year as a Sydney Rooster, her 9th NRLW game. As you can see there, the 2nd try of her career, but the 1st in this campaign.
Now, Matt, I hope Hannah doesn't make a liar out of me, but I've noticed in the earlier games, around at least last week, she does a little heart shape with her hand as she lines up the ball. Like a little good luck token as she's about to run in and kick that ball. So come on, Hannah, don't let me down.
Well, some of her conversions last week were fantastic. She was 2 from 3 and 1 from the sideline in the wind in horrible conditions. Stays in my memory. So she was 2 from 3 last week and capable of landing them from here. She's on the eastern sideline of the SCG. Let's see if she makes that heart you're talking about, Tasha. I know you're looking carefully and praying. Don't let me down, Hannah.
Come on, put those hands together, Hannah. Show us a little heart shape.
Oh, she's trying to.
There it is.
Just at the bottom of
there's
shot.
There's that heart.
Does it result in the right outcome for Hannah Southwell? It skews off the boot to the right of the uprights and it stays 4-0 Darcy McDonald.
A well-deserved try there for Bridie Parker. She did such a solid job filling in for Corbin Baxter at fullback, but of course she moves back to the wing with Baxter back at the back. Now, she's a really special player for the Roosters. She was identified by the club at the NRL's first ever Talent ID Day on the Gold Coast back in 2018. She was the only player out of 150 to be signed to an NRLW contract. The Broncos wanted her, but she turned them down for the Roosters and hasn't looked back since.
The odds aren't good, are they? 1 out of 150. But she caught enough attention. Good luck to her, Bridie Parker. As I mentioned, now 3 years into her NRLW career. And the kick-off bounces around in front of the uprights. A little awkward there for Baxter, who goes straight to Predabon. First there defensively, Crystal Rota. I mentioned before the game that both these teams had been winless through the opening 2 rounds. The Roosters beaten by Brisbane 20-4 and Gold Coast last week 26-16. So beaten by 16 and then 10. And Scott Strange, or John Strange, saying pre-game, they just need a win and some confidence. The good thing about an expanded competition is there's plenty of time for these teams to work their way back into the competition and finals contention. This is a good set after points by the Roosters. They've come 80 metres now, make it 85, trying to score in back-to-back sets, but now the strip. Big play from Georgia Page, because they were setting themselves up to land a blow on the final tackle of the set, Tasha.
They sure were. They were looking very, very dangerous there. The Roosters made quite a bit of ground getting up there, and very smart strip by Georgia Page. Got the Knights out of trouble.
Sala got in front of Stevens. So Stevens goes it alone. Playing on a wing today, although she's wearing 6, part of that reshuffled back line from Casey Bromelo. Big contact coming in from Sarah Tongatuki on Aneta Nuasala. Shante Poko stops and measures her kick down the field. Taken well by Baxter. But again, they're starting their set in pretty good position here, the Roosters. Now Parker, the try scorer. This is Liane Tafanga, the 20-year-old. A try scorer last week. 9 tackle busts from her over the first 2 weeks of the competition.
Very powerful runner of the ball.
Charlotte, uphill! Here we are. Hold. Don't lock me in. Go 4.
Here's Racine McGregor. Through the hands they go again. Kelleher out to Parker. Parker back on the inside. Isabel Kelly. The Roosters go back to back. The first try was Kelly for Parker. The second is Parker for Isabel Kelly.
Well, don't the Roosters look excited? And I tell you what, Izzy Kelly has been looking dangerous from the get-go. It's so good to see her getting more of the early ball. Again, it's another dummy run there. Great pass by Racine McGregor. That sets it up on the same side, this time back inside to Isabel Kelly, and she puts the extra 4 points on the board for the Roosters.
And again, it's a shift to their left that gets the results. Isabel Kelly started her career at the Roosters, went to St George Illawarra. Now she's back at Bondi for her 3rd NRLW season as a Rooster. Her first try of the campaign, the 2018 Golden Boot winner, an Australian Jillaroo, New South Wales Origin star, and a few kisses from the teammates for her efforts.
It doesn't hurt. And I tell you what, Izzy Kelly, we haven't seen her at her finest. Last year she was, you know, injured a bit, niggling injuries here and there, but you can see she's fighting fit out there, and what a danger, what a weapon to have on your team. And alongside the other side, Surges.
Yeah, fantastic strike weapons on both sides of the field. Hannah Southwell has this conversion 10 metres in from that eastern sideline. So she's getting closer to the post, having missed the first from right on the sideline. This for a double-figure lead. Newcastle pipped by 1 point in the opening round, by 18 last week against Brisbane. There were some promising signs. They've been unable to build on them so far. And here's Southwell going through her processes again.
There's the lucky heart. I think she's going to kick this one. I've got that feeling, Matt.
I reckon it means I'd love this to go over. And it does. Just straightening late enough to find the inside of the post. It's 10-0 Roosters against Newcastle, Darcy.
Isabel Kelly, what a superstar of the game. You touched on her impressive resume just before, Maddie, so it shouldn't come as no surprise that the Knights actually offered her a marquee contract, but she turned them down. So that, no doubt, has rubbed some salt in the wound. The reason she returned to the Roosters is to link up with John Strange again. She believes he's a big reason why her game has improved dramatically after working closely with him at the Central Coast Roosters.
Time on.
Yep, Isabel Kelly. Now on Monday, straight after 360, we get to see the first edition of Benji. And this kickoff going towards the dead ball line. The Roosters come up with an error there. Newcastle get a break. So the Knights can go straight on the attack here, and don't they need it?
They certainly do. They've had 2 tries scored against them, both on the same side. That's a difficult bounce there for, I think it was Bridie Parker. Tries to scoop it back in, but now the Knights find themselves in a good attacking position. They've got to capitalise on this, Matt.
Yeah, you can't be offside in goal, but that was always going to result in Newcastle's possession. As soon as it was thrown back into the in-goal, Teitzel takes the kick, and Newcastle wind up here with an offload from Nuasala. Charlotte Scanlon on in jumper 15 for the Knights. Rota. And now Arakua, Toru Arakua. Made a big impact last week before a few errors crept into her game. They explore on the short side. Trezard going back to Teitzel. Brought up long for Dib. She goes on for Bobby Law. The left-hand centre tried to position the arms to feed Stevens on a wing. But the defence was up to the challenge. Kira Dib. It goes on to Rota. Another pass and they're 10 metres out. Now Rota dummies and goes herself, wrapped up by Kernick quickly. And they'll change it over. The goal line defence of the Sydney Roosters doing the job. Well, that's their best attacking set of the game. Tasha Gar, what did you make of Newcastle over those 6 tackles?
Yes, they're definitely looking better. You could see Stevens on the wing screaming out for it to come over to the left-hand side. But the Roosters, to their credit, their defence scurried across and covered and defended their line exceptionally well.
Southwell given no latitude there. Newcastle now trying to aim up defensively and either force an error or keep the Roosters in their 20 for as long as possible. A penalty will bail them out. Offside, Shante Poko, the player identified by Carolee Nolan, the referee today. Well, that's a let-off for the Roosters. Kelleher can kick for the sideline, and they were doing it hard there for a few tackles.
They were, but now just short of midway, and the Roosters get the ball back through a strong, powerful run again by Olivia Kernick.
Kelleher goes to Maya Hilmoana.
Pardon me, that was Yasmin Meeks with that powerful run.
Here's Kelleher again, and it's put down this time. It was a bullet ball for Isabel Kelly that should have been taken, but the most recent try scorer gives it up.
Jamie Frassard was Johnny on the spot there to take it from the Kelly fumble. We all enjoyed her try last week.
There's been some fantastic tries scored, and plenty of them. I know you've been keeping count of them, Tasha. As we see here, Crystal Rota go to Arakua, who stands and gets the ball away. Teitzel now. Taken by Kelleher and Higgins. Poko, Toru Arakua, Dib, dummies, straightens and goes through. Kira Dib striding out now, looking for support, and she takes a great tackle. Corbin Baxter one-on-one to stop Kira Dib. Rota, long out for Bobby Law, who grubbers into the in goal, still there, and Jess Surgis plays it cool, gets the result back to the 20 for a 7-tackle set.
It was a great run there in the lead up there by Kira Dib. I don't know how many times I've commentated her games, and it's the classic Dib dummy. Gets her through that line there as the Roosters try and build it back up their end of the field.
Newcastle desperately needed that grubber to pull up in goal. So a penalty followed by a 7-tackle set, and there's some free metres for the Roosters, who go forward now. Keely Joseph, she was strong last week off the bench. Keely, the 20-year-old, twice an Indigenous All-Star. Now Hill Moana again, the 19-year-old. So great to see some teenagers, early 20-year-olds, working their way through the different competitions, finding the expanded NRLW. Out from 4 teams to 6 this year. Higgins gets the ball away. Now it's Southwell, straightening, still going. Hannah Southwell powering away inside the 10. Higgins goes deep. Baxter out for Kernick. Here's a chance in the centres, but Surgis crunched. And the ball comes free. That's strong defence, Newcastle.
That was strong defence there by Newcastle. It was a cracking tackle. You see it come out here. Surgis, where she's at her most dangerous, ball in hand, but tries to get the quick pass out. But it was a fabulous tackle, I think, by, was that Bobby Law?
Might have been Stevens, was it? On Jess Surgis. And a Southwell still down, getting some treatment. Let's have a look at this defence, because Newcastle will need more of this. Here's Hannah Southwell. It was a strong run. She was almost down a couple of times, but just powered over the top and then ended up falling over the top of the tacklers. And now into the defence here on Jess Surgis. Yeah. Autumn Rain Stevens. Crunch, and the ball comes free. If you're joining us late, Knights coach Casey Bromlow shaking up his backline with Kira Dibb and Chante Poko starting in the halves. Autumn Rain Stevens going to a wing and Tallulah Tillett off the bench. Now Jamie Frazzard, who scored a strong try last week, but it was her defence that really shone, in my opinion. So 10-0 to the Roosters, but like last week, Newcastle working their way into the game. It took some time for them to settle, didn't it, Tasha?
It does, but let's hope that they have got those jitters out of their game. Autumn Rain Stevens, what a powerful tackler of the ball. She actually scored 2 tries on debut for New Zealand. So she certainly knows her way to the line. She can play in the halves and obviously a very strong defender.
Emma Manzelmann on and into that dummy half position for Newcastle. This is a good kick. Baxter went very close to the sideline, now heads back towards centre field, but is wrapped up by Caitlin Vaha-Kolo. Bridie Parker away again. A try scorer, the first of the afternoon, followed by Isabel Kelly.
We're seeing some great footwork at the line by both the backs and the forwards that seem to be opening up the Newcastle Knights.
Kelleher with that most recent run. And here's Kelly. Plenty of go forward after contact for the Roosters. As McGregor goes across field under pressure. Baxter has to hold the ball. Newcastle well aware of her dangers if given any room. Here's McGregor on the short side, sits the ball out in front of Leanne Tofanga, but she can't take it and it goes into touch.
The Roosters just aren't having the same sort of success on the right-hand side. They're certainly testing it. They've gone to the right-hand side the last 3 times on attack, but they've found their most success has been over on the left-hand side where they've scored 2 of their tries.
Our hearts go out to the people in northern New South Wales, southern Queensland, western Sydney. Hasn't there been some rain and a torrid time because of the floods? Lend your support, nrl.com/flood relief, especially up in the northern rivers. We are thinking of you as the repairs and recovery continue. Good to know we can get involved and lend some financial support through nrl.com. Go there and follow the prompts on what is a sunny, glorious autumn day in Sydney. The SCG hosting this NRLW game. Then it's the men. Roosters, Knights, Tedesco, Ponga.
That's a great run there. I think it's by Manzelmann. She's come
and now they get the penalty, Tasha. It was Manzelmann.
Manzelmann, just a young player on debut this season. Got on in round 1. She's played some terrific footy.
They'd love to go to the break with a try in the bank if it's 10-4 or 10-6 there right in this contest. And still plenty of time left in this opening half. The halves out from 30 minutes to 35 this season. And Nuasala is tackled with the ball. Manzelmann through Scanlon and on now to Arakua. They're 10 out the Knights. Poko gets her ball away for Teitzel and a penalty conceded. The Roosters too quick to leave their line and pinged by referee Nolan.
That is something that both Kelly and Surgis are known to do, is shoot out from the line. However, that time, just a little bit too quick.
Edwards bruised force backwards in a strong tackle there. Down the short side, Teitzel pokes their head through and reaches out. Romy Teitzel, the captain.
We were just talking earlier about what a great captain and at such a young age. Romy Teitzel, 23 years of age, scored their first try and in round 1 and now manages to force her way over the line, plant the ball down securely, and just as we were saying, the Titans needed to score, Matt, and there they have their 4 points. It's going to be up to Poko to see if she can make it 6 between the sticks.
From a rugby league family, she started her NRLW journey as a Bronco. now in her first season as a Newcastle Knight. Romy Teitzel, well done.
Yes, Romy made the move from the Broncos. She was playing behind Tamika Upton, so often pretty hard to get a run in your favourite spot as fullback if you've got Tamika Upton there ahead of you, as she did at the Broncos. She's really found her place here now with the new team Titans and doing an admirable job scoring, captaining, really lifting the Titans today.
Kira Dibb, a good kicker of the ball. Can she convert the first try? Her fullback, Romy Teitzel. Dibb wastes no time. Oh, wow, what a kick. Straight and true, straight through. 10-6 to the Roosters. Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, so straight after 360, the first Maddie Johns face-to-face of the season. As we look at Teitzel go in again, the guest with Maddie on Tuesday, the one and only Craig Bellamy, reflecting on his coaching journey before his 500th NRL game. And you'll see Bellamy and his Melbourne Storm later this evening, the third game, the 7:30 game on Super Saturday. West Tigers against Melbourne from CommBank Stadium in Western Sydney. We look forward to seeing whether the Storm can continue this remarkable run in season openers. 17 straight victories. Can the Tigers put an end to that later today?
We just saw the replay of Kira Dibb striking that ball. Took no time to set it up. Down to business. And that's another string to her bow that she has. She's very successful on the conversions in the Harvey Norman Women's Premiership all last season.
Strong run, Arakua with an offload at the end of it, but now under pressure, Manzelmann driven backwards. We're just back to Kira Dibb's goal kicking. We see kickers in the men's and women's games taking a long time to measure their kicks, but not Kira. She was straight down to business. Caught me by surprise.
She struck it with confidence, and rightfully so.
So it was 10-0 to the Roosters. Back-to-back tries for them before Newcastle, like they did last week. In fact, since the competition started, looking better the longer the game goes. This new team in the NRLW this season.
The Roosters need to be a little bit careful and get back from the tackle, back into the line of defence. They seem to be a little bit slow there, and if Crystal Rorter spots it, she will abuse that there from Togatuki.
Well, the kick from Polka, the torpedo crossfield bomb taken by Tavanga, who almost raced away. Now it's Surgis trying to do exactly that. And it's Arakua around the legs to stop her. Strong run, Jess Surgis. Here's Kelly now, so the centres back to back.
Surgis has earned herself the nickname of Winks because she just collected she won everything in last season, actually. Sorry, 2019.
Yeah, scooped the pool. Now here she is going back for Baxter. When she's in full flight, having gapped the defence, you can draw comparisons to Winks in terms of running as well. Here's Tafanga on a wing. Liane Tafanga will give it back to Newcastle. The change over just a few metres out.
That's a good place to hand the ball over. That deep right corner.
Not risking the attacking kick into the in goal that can go too far and result in a 7-tackle set. Happy just to give it up in that corner.
Jamie Frassard, I think that is. Just tell by the way she runs with such urgency. Not much of her, but really powerful runs.
Teitzel now forced to surrender in the run. Poco just drops a support player underneath. Strong contact from the Roosters on Charlotte Scanlon. Manzelmann goes to Dibb, who's inside the 40. Didn't get it as she would have liked, and it sits up nicely for Tavanga. Good run. Liane Tafanga. It was only a desperate grab that stopped her. It came from Emma Manzelmann.
I was surprised that Dib chose to kick down the left-hand side there because the right-hand side winger, Matt, hadn't dropped back. So I thought that might have been a smarter option.
Hold, Tori, hold. Hold. Go two.
Kelleher at dummy half, finding McGregor. Quick hands through Bill Moana. Still the ball is promoted, but it gets messy on the ground. Picked up by Isabel Kelly. And she's stopped by Frazard.
Hold here, hold. Lock in. Go zero.
Zero tackle.
Yeah, set restart. Newcastle under some pressure now. And they've spotted a knock on. Can you believe it? They got the fresh set, and a few seconds later, there's a knock on.
That's twice the Knights have been lucky with a fumbling error from the Roosters.
Making first contact, Charlotte Scanlon, assisted by Arakua. And they get a result. Drew Hutchison walking in with James Tedesco, the men to follow this NRLW game. Lindsay Collins back from a knee injury. We get to see Sam Walker and Luke Keary in the halves for the first time. A lot to look forward to as we kick off the male part of Super Saturday straight after this one. Manzelmann gets the ball away. Now, again, Manzelmann.
Just
late in the half.
We were saying, Matt, that if they're slow to get back into the defence, and the hooker's going to take advantage of that, and our young player Manzelmann did exactly that.
So Teitzel is tackled, 25 out on the last. Dib, Grubbers towards the in goal. It sits up for Baxter, and she goes to ground safely. Again, it was a heavy kick from Kira Dib, probably rolling too far, but instead it sits up perfectly, and Baxter can return.
Emma, stand here. Here, Toru. Hold. Hold. Go two.
Surges to Kelly. Again, they find themselves side by side in the middle of the field, and straight away, oh no.
Isabel Kelly with the ball.
There's concern for Jess Surgis, who stayed on the ground, and immediately it was the defenders waving to the sideline.
Very good sportsmanship there to draw the attention to the referee that one of your opposition players is down. Let's see how this happened.
Oh, it's the right leg that twists awkwardly, and you can see Toru Arakua signalling to stop play straight away.
She's in a it's that. As we mentioned, strapping the ankle, it's a bit easier to isolate it, support that, and it just can just play through the pain, and she's still out there.
Going over here.
So Toru Arakua goes on report. You heard Caroline Nolan saying your shoulder made contact with the head. You might need to have another look at the tackle to have a look at that contact and form an opinion there.
Well, she's on report, so the match review committee will be all over that.
So Kernick comes forward for the Roosters after a long stoppage. And now it's Tongatuki. Kelleher, middle of the field. This is Keely Joseph, picked up by Arakua, driven backwards, and Toru's been pinged again.
This is going to be a bit of a problem here. Did she tilt her past the 180 degree? Referee doesn't seem to think so. I'm very pleased. I won't know until I have another look at it.
Toru, Arakua, and now the bunker.
Toru.
He's speaking to
Toru.
Caroline Nolan again. Let's have another chat.
Let's wait for Romy.
Romy Teitzel,
Okay, the
Newcastle
contact's
captain.
dangerous. You're on report and you're in the bin.
So penalised twice in virtually as many tackles. Here's this contact. Well, so that's the one that's been deemed to go beyond the horizontal. And that came after, here it is again.
It's just as we were saying, Matt. I feared that, and it looks a little bit worse in the replay in slow motion. But yes, the match review committee will certainly be dealing with that, and she's in the bin.
So she went on report for high contact to the head and then to the bin for a tackle that went beyond the horizontal. Toru Arakua as Newcastle defend with 12 players. A big few minutes here in this game. Here's Tongatuki, testing them up the middle. Kelleher long, good service for McGregor. McGregor straightens, and she's held by Shante Poko. Back towards the middle of the ground, it's Hill Moana. Staying on her feet, Maya. Baxter. Now Kernick long, out to Tafunga. And Tafunga defended by Autumn Rain Stevens, and again they change it over. Almost in identical position to the changeover we saw a few minutes ago.
Yep, always good, as we mentioned. If you can hand the ball over there, you don't really need to attempt the kick. But the Knights, what about their defence, Matt? One player down, and they've all just banded together and kept the Roosters at bay. And now they're working it out from their 20, 10, 9, driven back, 8 metres.
A minute left in the first half. I'm looking forward to hearing Braithen Astor with Maddie Studden and Kennedy Cherrington in the studio at half-time. Wrapping up the first 35 here. Some tries to look at and some controversial incidents as Teitzel goes forward. Your first Super Saturday of the season well and truly underway. After this, the Roosters and Newcastle in the men. Good run. It came from Federica. Now Kira Dibb getting the kick away. Down for Baxter, little fumble. So only seconds left in the first half. Baxter dummies and straightens. Wrapped up by Georgia Page. Down low, it's Bobby Law. 2 tries to 1 in this one. Parker and Kelly. Before it was answered by the Newcastle Knights. Surgis kicks and chases. That injury appears to be okay. The ball can't be taken cleanly, and now Frazard and Surgis. Just a bit of push and shove. And Jess says, don't worry, I'm still here. The leg's good to go. Half-time, let's hope it doesn't cool down too much. And then we see her back for the second 35. At the break, it's the Roosters 10, the Knights 6. Great to see them in the middle of the field, so often looking for the ball, often passing to each other. And yeah, it was a key focus, obviously, this week. Kira Dibb, her kicking game will be important in the second half. We wait to see whether Surgis can return after the break. She is. After that scare regarding, firstly, her knee, we thought, but it was the ankle. She taped it up and continued, finished with a big limp. And still, you can see that she's impeded by that ankle. But thankfully for the Roosters, Tasha, able to continue from here.
Yeah, great to see Jess running on that ankle with confidence. She will play through a bit of pain. We've seen that from Jess because she is one of those fabulous athletes that just keep on keeping on. So really, really pleased that it wasn't more detrimental than what we thought. And just as we're looking at on the other side of the ball for the Roosters, it's the two Olivias, Higgins and Koenig, that have picked up 14 and 12 tackles respectively in the first half.
Olivia Higgins playing dummy half. Olivia Koenig, the edge forward on the right-hand side. Jess Surgis back out there. Both of these teams looking for their first win of the campaign. It's a longer competition, 5 regular rounds before the final, so still time for these teams to find their form and challenge for a postseason berth. Romy Teitzel, the try scorer and captain for the Knights.
Also leading the run meters for the Knights with 80 run meters in the first half.
The second 35 underway on a glorious autumn afternoon in Sydney. Great conditions and winding up. It's Maya Hill-Moana.
Maya Hill-Moana did her fair share of tackles as well, racking up 14 in the first half, Matt.
And Sarah Tongatuki playing the ball. They shifted again to the left for Koenig. Straight up the middle. And held by Polko around an ankle desperately. In fact, it was Yasmin Meeks with that run. Strong here, and it's lost but regathered. Keely Joseph doing a good job. Now Kelleher, McGregor, a change of angle provided by Hill-Moana. So a really solid set to open the second half. Tongatuki gives it on. Now it's Meeks. She finds room here. The ball outside. It's a try for Bridie Parker. Isabel Kelly, the provider. And they get there, albeit a little clunky at the end. Bridie Parker, a double.
Well done to Bridie Parker, but again, you've got the last pass coming from Isabel Kelly there, and she's always going to draw the defence. Nice set of hands as we go through. Offload there from Temera. Izzy Kelly going to draw the defence, but who is that coming across that nearly managed to hit Bridie Parker, but just not there quick enough? She's read this ball well, as they've done this before on the left-hand side. There's Temera offloading, and I think you can just see, Matt, the defensive player. It's Romy racing past, not there in time.
I was waiting for the big left foot step from Isabel Kelly to leave Teitzel. But instead she passed for Bridie Parker, and Parker gets her second.
That's that dangerous left-hand side that they showed us in the first half.
So Zahara Temera now with the kicking duties. Hannah Southwell 1 from 2 in the first half. Temera 12 of 22 across her career. There are the numbers. And this is a tough one for her.
Temera is the most capped Roosters player, today being her 14th game in the Tricolours. She's a Gold Coast local, but knocked back the Titans to stay loyal with the Roosters.
from the western sideline. She drags it to the right or the left of the uprights. Darcy McDonald, down to you.
Double delight there for Bridie Parker. She sure is dangerous on the wing. I've got an update from the sheds at half-time. Knights coach Casey Bromelo wants the girls to play smarter and manage the game until Toru Akaru is back on the field. When she does, he wants to see the girls lift the energy. As for Roosters coach John Strange, he just wants them to simply get through the set, and continue with the strong defence. I've also got an update on Jess Surges. As we can see, she's soldiering on through that ankle injury. I can confirm it was an ankle, but she did get checked out by the physio at halftime and she's all good to go. No worries there.
Good news indeed. Thank you, Darcy. Yeah, worth reminding everybody that Ngātokatoru Arakua is sin-binned. She was dismissed late in the first half and they're resuming with 12 defenders, the Knights. And they stem the damage until they're back to 13 on 13.
Somebody's down in back play there.
Tongatuki. Yeah, a head clash has left her with a bit of claret. The work from Yasmin Meeks. And this left-hand edge is solid to start the second half. Temera. Still going. Zahara Temera.
A lot of
Standing in the tackle.
experience playing the halves is Temera, and you just cannot let her run with the ball.
Kelleher into the middle of the ground where Maya Hill-Moana goes forward. Here's McGregor, the grubber, in behind the defensive line. Surges coming through, the bounce beats them all. And it sits up for the Knights to clean up. Stevens had the ball land in her lap after so many players raced past it as the ball bounced on its point. This might be the end of the day for Sarah Tongatuki. Still being treated in back play.
So we've got 12 on 12 effectively out there at the moment, with Arakua in the bin and Tongatuki receiving some work. Looks like a head clash.
I'm pretty sure that Sarah Tongatuki has played every minute of NRLW so far this season. And she's a starting front rower. She might have some minutes taken away from her here by the looks of it. So they head hard into the surface here at the Sydney Cricket Ground, which can be pretty rugged on the pitch area, the centre square, but she's just away from that. Darcy, you might have had a better view of that sideline.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a very good knock there for Sarah Tongatuki. She's coming off now with the assistance of the trainers, and it looks like number 17, Simone Kapani, will be making the change and coming on for her.
And as you mentioned, Matt, Sarah Tongatuki, she is a well-capped Roosters player. She's out there not only playing all the minutes in round 1 and 2, but this is her 10th game for the Roosters.
In the hands of Dr. Nathan Gibbs, a very experienced sports medico, just accompanying Sarah from the fields.
She's a Western Sydney local, and she actually turned down the Eels because she wanted to stay loyal to the Roosters.
Represented Fetu Samoa. A couple of games for New South Wales as well for Sarah Tongatuki, the 24-year-old. She'll be back in no time. Look at this. And it sits up beautifully for Olivia Koenig. How about that for the Roosters?
Well, they've opened up the scoring in this second half, laying on 2 tries either side of the field. First one through great hands. Second one, it looks like through a charge down. Just see that back on the replay.
Kira Dibbett was trying to kick the ball over Olivia Koenig. She's tall, big reach, gets the results. Well done, Olivia. 3 games this campaign, 3 tries. She scored in every outing so far this season as a Rooster.
What a great piece of play. She's charged that down as well as winning the race to the ball, and very strong as she goes over. For another 4 points for the Roosters, I tell you what, Coach Strange has got to be a lot happier with their performance this week.
She's another one in her first year of NRLW, a rookie, 21 years of age, and how about that for a start? Yeah, you can smile all you like, Olivia. Try in her first 3 games.
And what about her defensive efforts in the first half?
Absolutely, absolutely. And she leads the competition in terms of try scoring. A real athlete on the edge for coach John Strange.
Temera taking the goal kick.
Zahara Temera.
There's also another Temera, a little sister, who was due to play with a sister at the Roosters, but unfortunately broke her hand before round one.
This one dragged across the face, so 18-6. 2 converted tries, the difference. Toru Arakua preparing to return from the sin bin. So that was the tackle that saw her put on report for, shoulder contact to the head. And then a few minutes after that, she was sin bin for this lifting tackle on Keely Joseph.
There's been 2 tries while Arakua has been off. What you've got to do as a player now, you come back on and you work your guts off. Either side of the ball, you've got to make up to your teammates who've been playing a player down. You get in there and you do your utmost to make up for that.
Big afternoon of rugby league ahead. Big week of golf ahead. The PGA Players Championship live and exclusive on Fox Sports 503. A dedicated channel for the PGA Players Championship for you to enjoy on Fox this week.
Time off. Back to the mark. Hold. 2.
Temera keeps the ball moving towards the middle of the ground. Newcastle need to score next. Still within reach of them. 2 converted tries the difference, and that's the result. Isabel Kelly losing the ball over the sideline, and Newcastle will get some good ball here.
It's just what they needed, the Knights, now that they're back to their full complement of 13. And Arakua appears to be doing a lot of the work there as she's been brought back onto the field from the sin bin. And the Knights will get possession of the ball here on the midway line.
What are they set up for? Who are you looking for to land the attacking blow here, Tasha? Is it Romy Teitzel again? Is there someone else that you want to see get their hands on the ball?
I want Arakua to score. That's what I want. Make up for those 10 minutes. Look, I'm going to run through the centre of the pack here and under the posts.
Here she is trailing on the inside as it's carried forward by Charlotte Scanlon. Toru Arakua determined to make up for her sin binning. Straight and hard, bouncing away from Kernick. It took Simone Carpani to help fell Arakua.
And she picks up the penalty. So a barnstorming run and picks up a penalty.
It's never boring with Toru Arakua on the field. We saw it last week in Wollongong. She was either busting through the defence or conceding a penalty or doing something, and here she comes again.
Certainly putting her hand up for the hard work. She wants it.
Scanlon goes close. Manzelmann, they trade the crash play. And it's Phoebe Desmond down low. Has Phoebe scored?
Time off. Bunker review, Matt. This will be tackle 3. I've got a no try. Can you confirm she's held up over the line?
So Matt Nguyen in the bunker. Phoebe Desmond off the bench, powering towards the in goal. You decide.
Phoebe Desmond scored a beauty in round 1.
Just looking to determine if the ball gets to the ground.
Looks like she's going to be denied.
Yeah, the Roosters.
The ball remains up at and is held up. We have a decision.
Phoebe Desmond, Matt, scored a try in round 1. Absolute beauty, but then missed last round due to COVID. She's great to have her back out there.
Arakua with the offload. Nice work, Toru Arakua. Here's Frazard straightening, unable to get past Kelly. Strong defensively. Isabel forces her to ground. Now it's Manselman to Scanlon. Driven backwards. Look at this from the Roosters. Keely Joseph playing a big role. Manselman's kick off the legs of the Roosters, dived on by Vaha Kolo. And they'll have to give it to the Roosters.
Yasmin Meeks chasing valiantly for that lost ball then, just missed it, but the Roosters have got it back. Got a bit of ground to cover.
Kelleher to Parker, a try-scoring double already for Bridie. Now McGregor just sits it up the edge forwards. Yasmin Meeks, Olivia Koenig doing a good job. McGregor. Racine started at St George Illawarra, a couple of years at Brisbane, back to, or now her first year at the Roosters.
Yep, she was a late signing. She was actually injured when the fourth season was supposed to go ahead with the NRLW, so didn't pick up a signing. She had an injury to her shoulder, but now with the delay, in she comes.
Temera's kick taken by Romy Teitzel. Darcy McDonald sideline.
Just an update on that Roosters prop, Sarah Togatuki. She did cop a nasty head knock and she has got a nasty cut above her eye. I can confirm that she won't be back today. She is sitting on the bench though. She asked the trainers, please can I go back on? But the Roosters are taking a safe approach with her and she won't be back.
Thanks, Darcy. We know she loves to play the full 70 minutes of the game, so it's a shame she can't go back on.
Yeah, as she'd done over the first 2 weeks of this competition. She'll have to sit in this beautiful sunshine and watch her team from here on through as Desmond goes forward again into another strong tackle. Now the kick. Poco. End over end. Down for Baxter, who catches cleanly. It's quite distinctive, this Shante Poco kicking style, isn't it? She just pulls up and really measures each kick. And now the opposition, that's the Roosters, get the penalty.
The Roosters have been stuck down this area of the field. Best part of the last 5 or so minutes. They opened up the scoring in this second half, but they haven't had any joy getting down into near their try line for a few sets of sixes yet.
Super Saturday continues after this. 3 NRL games. Firstly, Roosters, Newcastle. Then Warriors, St George Illawarra into Wests Tigers against Melbourne. Your round 1 triple header. Simone Kapani playing it. And they keep play down the middle through Keely Joseph. Temera on for Meeks, and her pass is put down.
It was the right idea if Izzy Kelly could hang on to it. It's a little bit tough to take.
So tackle 0, it stays with the Roosters. Knocked down by Newcastle. Karpani, she plays it. Higgins. Now McGregor. Long, and it's through the hands. This will be ruled knock on. Corbin Baxter couldn't take it cleanly. So Newcastle stay in the contest. Still a long way to go here.
They've still got over 20 minutes to go this half. The Roosters leading 18-6. The Titans are going to need a couple of converted tries to get right back into this game.
The Roosters warming up for their first game of the season. They were big winners in game 1 last year at the SCG against Manly. Can they do it again? Luke Keary back from injury. Lindsay Collins back from injury. Keary and Sam Walker in the halves for the first time. He looks ready to go, doesn't he? And Tasha Gale, he's one of your former students. Was he a good boy at school?
Of course he was a good boy at school. He's an Oak Hill College boy, Luke Keary.
The penalty goes to Newcastle. In fact, we get to see two of your students today. Firstly, Luke Keary, and later on, Ryan Pappenhausen, cleared for takeoff in round 1. And you taught both of them.
Yes, I certainly did. And I was really, really happy to see them both back fighting fit for this game today.
PDHPE, what's that stand for? Personal Health and Development and Physical Education, or something similar?
That's a bit of a mouthful, but yeah, personal development, health and physical education.
Okay.
We're all over it.
I bet you they would have thrived in that class. That's right up their alley. You're not trying to teach them maths or algebra or something like that. Now another penalty back-to-back for the Knights.
No.
Being assisted upfield. They just need a converted try to set up the big finish. And there's still a long way in that finish to go. Best part of 20 minutes. Frazard, tap and go quickly. She stopped 14 metres out.
Jamie Frazard loves to run that ball. Always got to watch her footwork on the line.
Desmond straightens towards the uprights. Is taken by Koenig. Manzelmann caught at dummy half, and they burn a tackle there.
A little bit of miscommunication there.
Now out of dummy half, Netta Nuasala. Held, she gets the ball away, it goes through Dib. Now Page, her pass is taken, but they wrap up Bobby Law very quickly.
Just a little bit too slow with the hands out there on the wing.
Dib for Nuasala. Another offload. Now Manzelmann fights to create an offload. She can't. Poko. Nuasala, she's determined. She's down low. And she's found the target. Netta Nuasala scores for Newcastle. Right beside the posts. It's about to be 6 points the difference.
That'll be a 6-pointer. You could see Poko come in here at dummy half, communicating with the forwards. She knew that she wanted Nuasala coming in back on the inside there and just using her sheer power and strength, reaching out and planting that ball down for a 4 and what we consider to be a 6-point try.
The Kiwi Fern gets the second try of her NRLW career, her first of the season, and it's a great time to score.
Well, you were saying, Matt, or actually I was saying they need a couple of converted tries, and there goes one with still 17 minutes to go. We still have a match here. The Titans are definitely in this.
They spotted Brisbane a big start last week, then applied a little bit of pressure through the back end, and they're doing it again a week down the track to the Roosters. Kira Dibb, successful with her only attempt today. She's 10 of 17 through her NRLW career. And this one is from right in front. 18-12, the Roosters edge Newcastle at this point.
Again, Dibb does it. Makes it 2 from 2 today, and no fuss about it at all.
Darcy, the big finish is set up, still anybody's game.
It absolutely is, and what a try there by Netta Nuasala. Now, that last name I'm sure is very familiar to our viewers. She is the younger sister of former NRL player Frank Paul Nuasala, who is actually her sporting hero because he created a pathway for the younger members of her family and opened their eyes to what they could achieve. So I'm sure he's watching on and is very proud.
Indeed. And hoping that Newcastle can continue this comeback and go on and score their first win in NRLW history. They're one of the new clubs.
And as we see Hannah Southwell take the kick there.
Out on the full. So a bad error from the Roosters. Newcastle will march straight upfield, Tasha.
What's happened to the Roosters? They came out so confident to start this second half. Opened the scoring first up, but now that they're appearing a little bit rattled, Matt.
18-6 leaders they were, and in control of the game. They scored through Parker twice, Isabel Kelly and Olivia Koenig. But now that try from Aneta Nuasala has belief in this Newcastle team. They can come home over the top.
And Newcastle Knights are on the march again.
It's Phoebe Desmond, a Team of the Week member in round 1 before she missed last week because of COVID.
Phoebe the Diamond Desmond.
Nuasala posing problems again, held by Southwell. Manzelmann long, Dibb shows it. Her pass for Robbie Teitzel! Teitzel tried to skid in. She says, I reached the line, but is told to play the ball. Just short, the Newcastle captain. Here's Page. The ball comes through and it's dived on by Olivia Higgins. She did the defensive work and then fell on the forced pass.
Well, it is.
Now the Roosters get a penalty. A big few moments there for the home team.
Just what the Knights didn't need. They were looking so dangerous here, so close to the line. Just held up short, says the referee. She comes back, but you can't afford to make mistakes after that and then give a penalty away, Matt.
Newcastle still completing at nearly 90%. The Roosters below 70. This is Koenig coming forward. Hannah Southwell, middle of the ground. She passes to Baxter. And Baxter is tackled by Rangi Marie Edwards-Bruce. Arakua was there as well. Taylor Predabon back out there to finish this game. Higgins to Southwell. And they enter Newcastle territory, but have burnt 4 tackles to do so. Joseph still going. They arrive at the last. It's with McGregor for Temera. She's a noted kicker, an experienced kicker. The ball there, it was almost confusion. Teitzel and Vaha Kolo, but they make it work, then get the penalty. Heart-in-mouth stuff for Casey Bromelo.
Absolutely. Vahakola, I want to see her in some space. She's been touted as being one of the fastest players in NRLW.
We haven't really got to see that yet.
Not yet. It's been tough out there on the wing for the Titans.
Caitlin Vaha-Kolo in jumper number 2 for Newcastle. Here she goes out of dummy half, but given no room, pulled down by Isabel Kelly. Manzelmann through Poco, and here's Desmond. That's good defence from Olivia Koenig.
Manzelmann is giving the Knights some really good service, really quick play the ball out in front, nice and flat. Lets the player with the ball able to see what's up in front of them.
Nuasala straight into play. Now they pass to the left, and Teitzel tries to drag free of the defence. It came from Keely Joseph around the legs. And they haven't completed the play. The ball, an error in the ruck. Lets the Roosters off. Romy Teitzel doesn't like it. Is it a coach's challenge here? Or captain's challenge?
Play the scrum, never told anything.
Yeah, now we get the challenge.
Time off. Matt, we had a captain's challenge. Knights are challenging the on-field decision of a knock-on.
Romy looks quite confident in a captain's call.
You heard her say, I didn't let go of it.
They don't want it, they don't want it.
So the captain involved
The
in
ball
the
is
play,
placed on the ground by the Newcastle player.
but she's now challenging.
Her hand remains on the ball and then the ball is played. There is no knock-on in the play. The challenge is successful.
Good challenge, Romy Teitzel.
Thanks,
He will only get them 1 extra play, but an attacking kick here might result in a big play.
And that's the captain for you, the young captain that I'm speaking of, just 23 years of age, very confident in a captain's challenge.
Girls, race
Still
in.
has that arsenal
Race
in her pocket to use at a later date if need be.
Circle, go.
So Dib waits, passes for Polko to run. Shante Polko gets the ball away. They keep it alive for Teitzel. Teitzel will have to kick now, high across the ground, out towards Bridie Parker, who loses it and then watches it roll dead in goal. So the Roosters get a 7-tackle set.
Just a bit too heavy on the kick there.
Did you like that? They chanced their hand. They elected to run and then scramble to kick rather than really building towards a predetermined attacking kick.
Absolutely, and it started from Shante Porco. You saw her as she gets the ball, draws a few players, gets the offload, which I always love, chances the hand, and then tries the kick. Why not?
A beautiful afternoon at the Sydney Cricket Ground. After the women, it's the men. The Roosters starting against the Knights. Andrew Voss, Stephen Blocker-Roach, Hannah Hollis to bring you all the action. The first of 3 NRL games this afternoon, but another mistake here by the Roosters. It's Predabon putting it down, and Newcastle can come straight back on the attack.
She's just tried to force that offload.
11 minutes left, an eternity. As Trent Robinson looks nice and relaxed, having a chat with Sam Walker. Those shoulders strapped away nice and securely. Sam Walker, Luke Keary, the halves combination for the Roosters. But right here, it's Newcastle looking to level us up in this NRLW round 3 opener. Federica on the charge and stripped of it by Jess Surgis.
Well, Federica came in there, gave the Roosters player the don't argue palm off, and then copped it back with a strip.
Olivia Koenig with another determined run. Here's Hannah Southwell. She passes to Predabon.
There's another Southwell, Matt, in training at the younger sister Hannah, and she's doing awesome things in the junior football.
Well, this pass by the Roosters towards the sideline. Parker keeps it in just. A gifted family, the Southwell family. Hannah doing some sensational stuff on the rugby league field in previous seasons. It's her 4th year of NRLW.
It is, and just keep your ear out for Jessie Southwell.
Well, she has something to aim at with big sister representing the Gillaroos and New South Wales. The completion by the Roosters down towards the sideline. Teitzel gets it now, but she's pinned in that northwestern corner. The chase is good by the Roosters.
She had a bit of work to do to try and stay inside there. But
oh no, it's put down. Newcastle have dropped the ball. Picked up by Kelly, who almost goes over.
This will be back-breaking stuff if the Roosters score.
Predabon received the ball flat-footed and was easy prey for Charlotte Scanlon. Temera across the ground. McGregor, Koenig with a runaround. Backs to Surgis. It's building here. Tafunga away from the sideline, still going. Leanne Tafunga shut down by Desmond Crunch. Get to ground, she said. Bursting through, bursting over. Keely Joseph. She's been one of the Roosters' best. That might be, just might be the match sealer. A big play off the back of Newcastle's error on top of their own goal line.
And Keely Joseph here. This is where they started down on this left-hand side. They chanced their hands all the way to the right-hand side, back up the middle to go in under the posts. Very confident play there from the Roosters, and it would appear that that may, Matt, be the icing on the cake.
Well, still time for the Knights, but it is a huge try in context of the game, but also for Keely Joseph, her first in the NRLW, the 20-year-old. An NRLW rookie, and look at the face as she dives in. I've got one. I've got my first 4-pointer. Come and congratulate me.
And it's under the post. But I just love the way that the Roosters showed the confidence. They were down here on the left-hand side, attacking the left-hand side, passed all the way to the right, to come all the way back into centre field for Keely Joseph to go in under the post.
So we had Olivia Koenig go in. We've had Keely Joseph back that effort up. Zahara Temura steers this one through. It's 24-12 with 7 minutes to play, Darcy.
Such a well-deserved try for Keely Joseph. She has worked so hard to get to this point in her career. She hails from Logan City in Brisbane, but in 2018 she asked if she could train with the Roosters NRLW junior program and would travel down to Sydney to attend sessions and then return home to attend school at Mabel State High the very next day. She eventually moved down to Sydney to play in the Tasha Gale Cup, and she's worked her way through, and the Roosters were so impressed with what she's delivered that they've actually struck up a pathway partnership with her high school. So again, well-deserved, Keely Joseph.
Yeah, good story, well told. Thank you, Darcy. And it's common across the NRLW, the lengths the girls go to play rugby league, something you were very familiar of, Tasha Gale, when you snuck away from your Sydney home to go down and play with Bulli all those years ago.
Yes, I did. Mum and Dad thought I was playing a bit of netball and tennis, but no, I was down in Wollongong playing the game that I love, that being rugby league.
A game that made you Gillaroos captain in the late 1990s. Didn't get to play here at the Sydney Cricket Ground, but a thrill for these players today. They're on this famous surface, and it's the Roosters, 24-12 leaders, 6 minutes to go. Both teams looking for their first wins of this competition. Newcastle, their first win, full stop, given they're newcomers to the expanded league. Racine McGregor chips over the top, just putting it in the backfield where Teitzel is now under pressure. She's knocked on in goal. Frustration for Romy Teitzel. Under pressure, the ball bouncing awkwardly, and she couldn't gather cleanly.
That's unfortunate for Teitzel. She's had such a strong game, such a strong 3 rounds in the NRLW this season, but just that little bobble. Worst place, worst time ever.
So time becomes the enemy for the Knights, needing 2 converted tries in 5 minutes to force Golden Point. Firstly, they need the ball as McGregor passes for Koenig. Higgins to Predabon.
You were 10 and 15 were in front.
So pinged for being offside, Newcastle. Trying to just bend the rules a little out of desperation, and they're caught out. And coach John Strange, who's also been the Central Coast Roosters Harvey Norman women's coach for a while, closing in on his first win in charge of the Roosters. Here's Kelly. Kelly close to the line. They number up defensively, and they needed to. The ball cleaned up by Parker. Temura. Here's Meeks. Yasmin Meeks.
Crystal off the ball. Lock in.
Nothing meek and mild about her, is there, on the edge for the Roosters as Predabon takes the line on, stands in the tackle. Higgins long to McGregor. Another ball now for Koenig. Koenig to Surgis, and Jess Surgis goes in. She was almost forced out of the game with an ankle injury, but fights through the pain to be a try scorer today.
And Jess rewarded with a try today. You just saw that coming, Matt. Again, the Roosters have their confidence. There was a little bit of time there where they looked a bit rattled, but they've come back. And again, through how many sets of hands has this ball gone, as we see in the replay? And Racine McGregor, another integral part of that try. The Roosters are happy.
Jess Surgis over the first 2 weeks of this competition averaged nearly 120 run metres. She's had 4 offloads in the last couple of weeks as well. And the 24-year-old scores her 6th try in NRLW history, but her first of this campaign. 3 years as a Dragon, her first as a Rooster. Now she's a Roosters try scorer.
And just in the lead-up play, we won't see it in the replay here, but you saw the other centre for the Roosters nearly go over, gave an offload in the left-hand corner. Then the Roosters from there have spread that out. Izzy Kelly, 144 run metres for the Roosters.
And Jess Surgis about to crack triple figures as well. The 2019 Dally M winner, Golden Boot winner, Rugby League Players Association Players Champion. The Jillaroo and 4-time New South Wales Blue, Hannah Southwell now. Measuring up this conversion attempt. She found herself on the sideline earlier today for a conversion attempt, that is, not parked. And after Zahara Temura took a turn, it's back to Southwell from the sideline. Has she got enough of it?
Away.
So it's a little short from Hannah Southwell. But next up, Kaylin Ponga, James Tedesco. Opposite ends of the field. The Knights, what can they give us in round one? The Roosters expected to be big guns, expect to be heavyweights in NRL 22, but what can Adam O'Brien and Newcastle deliver? They're about to hit the sunny SCG for their warm-up. That's the picture on ground, and the Roosters, well, their women are about to have their first win of NRLW 21, because we're playing to start this season the comp that was meant to be staged at the back end of last year. Here's Temura down the short side. Needed to pass there for Parker, who was away down the sideline.
The Roosters have looked very, very good on paper right from the get-go this season. They've added to their strike power with the centres that we've just been talking about, Izzy Kelly and Jess Surgis. But let's not forget, they lost 3 powerful forwards in over to the Eels from last season.
Southwell. I love the leg speed of Keely Joseph off the bench, jumper 15. Any weary defenders in front of her, and she looks like making them pay, but it's McGregor for the time being. Shut down by Arakua. Higgins kicks towards the sideline, and it's knocked on by the Roosters' Tafunga. So Tallulah Tillett on in the headgear.
Roosters.
Fill the dummy half roll.
Okay.
A minute left.
Go. No tackles.
They're about to break their duck, the Roosters, this season. There'll be 3 straight defeats for the Knights against Brisbane, Parramatta, and now the Roosters. Here's Teitzel. More NRLW action coming your way tomorrow. So George Illawarra against Brisbane, the unbeaten teams from midday, and then Parramatta against Gold Coast from 1:45 before we launch into the NRL on your Sunday tickets. But before that, plenty to come this Super Saturday. 3 games. Carrying the ball forward here for Newcastle, Netta Nuasala.
Right side Roosters. Go 4.
6 tries to 2 the Roosters have scored. Despite the opposition being better in terms of completions. Doesn't always mean a lot, does it, that stat, as the kick and chase, the chip and chase from Shante Polko. Falls for Zahara Temura. She goes to ground, and the Roosters had their first win of this NRLW Premiership. 6 tries to 2. They've beaten the Knights 28-12.